There were times I was lost, dark had fear, couldn't see through the rain. In the end it was clear, hit the fan. I was more than one man who was there to lend a hand. Together we'd stand, always had my back, my guardian soldier. Team pulled together, united we conquer. Blessed is he who in the name of charity carry me when I'm weak straight through the valley of darkness. Pitch blackness, the heartless, regardless, fear couldn't part us. Thick and thin, there by my side. At times we collide, but in the end we ride. Thick and thin, there by my side. At times we collide, but in the end we ride. We ride, ride.
Welcome back, Moto fans. Today we have another great industry guest on the show for you guys. But before we get into it, a big thank you to our partners for this episode. Fastline Suspension, Southeast Pools, Iro Helmets, Wolf Building Compliance, Ultimate Toy Haulers, and the February sponsor of the Mental for Moto Motocross and Supercross wall calendars, available on the Mental for Moto website now, O'Donnell Motorcycles. Now, our guest joining me in the Moto Asylum today is a 36-year-old veteran motocross racer from Geelong. He's an earth mover by profession and from time to time builds motocross and supercross tracks for Pro Tracks. So it's my pleasure to welcome Cam Bongers to the studio.
Thanks, Pete. Yeah, good. Spoke about it for a while, so cool to piece it together. I was over this way, so was able to make it work.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, I mean, when we've spoken in the past, before the pod, you know, there was a couple of interesting things that you'd done that I was aware of, but it wasn't until we were sort of starting to prep for the podcasts, you've actually been around and done a lot in your time.
Yeah, I guess it's one of those things. Anyone keen in the moto industry and what you do seem to find yourself in some pretty cool places at times if you do chase after, I guess, call it dreams. Chase after those dreams, you do get to do some pretty cool stuff. There's a lot of good people out there to meet.
So what do you prefer? Like, is it the riding side? Is it the working in the industry sort of stuff that you get to do? Or is it just being part of the sport as a whole?
I enjoy being in the industry. I really enjoy the riding part. To call it out early days, I think it was the riding part. I think it was really cool because everyone in their youth or their younger years they want to be a racer. They enjoy being a racer. I think there's just a thrill there that every single person that rides a dirt bike understands. But the industry part's been good. You meet a lot of good people in the industry, and since I've been a part of that sort of industry stuff or one of those people or been inside it, the biggest thing for me is realising just how deep it is. And I'm looking forward to chatting about it today. It's just there's so many people that play a part that you just don't, from an outsider looking in or from a racer, you have no idea how much goes into this stuff.
Yeah, and they're all required to make it happen. And I think one of the things with the moto industry is there's very few people making a lot of money out of it. So for the most part, everyone that's involved is pretty passionate as well.
It is. You're surrounded by passionate people. And yeah, the money side of things, I don't have too much coverage over, but yeah, there's a lot of just really good people that want good for the industry. And I mean, everyone says it every year. I think it's in a better place, and depending on your outlook, some might say it's worse, some might say it's better, but as far as I'm concerned, it's still a great industry to be a part of.
Yeah, and I mean, from my experience, certainly in the last 3 years, post-COVID, last 4 years, it's on an upward trajectory, I think, from the amateur racing scene right through to the pro level racing at the Pro MX, the Supercross. Like, it's growing again.
Yeah.
We're still a long way from maybe the golden era from the 90s and early 2000s, especially with rider numbers and even like the money that is in the industry.
Yeah.
But it's on an upward trajectory, which is awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, the golden era where there was a lot more riders, the competition was a lot more vast as well. And I think the pointy end of our sport is so competitive. I guess in my opinion, that's where it lies. There's not a lot of riders at the pointy end.
Yeah.
The riders at the pointy end are what I would consider world class on a good day.
Oh, for sure.
That they race. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, it's awesome when you get to see guys like Kyle Webster, go overseas, race the Des Nations, race in the US, and just see how good they are and how well they stack up. I mean, Ferris a couple of years ago too, got a second, I think, which one was it? At Hangtown, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, it's they're up there.
Yeah, for sure. So, no, I think it's I think being part of the industry at this point in my time is probably what I really do enjoy. but everyone likes riding a dirt bike.
Yeah. Well, a lot of your work in the industry comes from your background as an earth mover. So you've got a business called Civ Elite. I must apologise. I did call you Civvy Light quite a lot on the podcast, but it's Civ Elite. You guys have been amazing in supporting the podcast and Mental for Moto. You've been 2-time sponsors of the calendar. So you sponsored it last year and you sponsored it again this year, which is absolutely unreal.
Yeah, well, co-director of Civ Elite with Das, and Das Costin raced too, so I think he's a known name around sort of the traps as well. He raced in his younger days too, but it's just good to be able to put into the calendar what you're doing for the sport and for the juniors and for the seniors. I mean, you've taken photos of all of us. There's a lot of people out there that you've got shots of, and I just think it's good. It's good to be a part of it. It's good to play in my opinion, it's just a small part to what it takes, but it's good to just be a part of it.
Yeah, and like you said, going back to the working parts and the people in the industry that it takes, like so much of the support that I've had with Mental for Moto has come from businesses like Civ Elite, a lot of carpentry businesses or plumbing businesses, and as much from that side as from the industry itself, which is, for me, it's been awesome. But I think that is representative of what makes the motocross community tick. Like you look at who sponsors the classes at the VIX and at the regional events, and it is all these businesses from people that are just enthusiasts of the sport.
Yeah. Well, generally speaking, if you're meeting someone in the sport that has the opportunity to support someone in the industry in a small way, they're generally going to be, they're going to be a good person. They're going to be good to talk to. They're going to have stories. They're going to be fun. It's a serious sport, but we're all out here having fun, and I think it's good. You get to talk to and you get to meet a lot of good people. So
I totally agree.
I'm sure everyone on the calendar's on the same boat. They just love to be a part. They just love to be a part of it.
Nah, it's awesome, man, and that's why I got into it, is because I love it. Like I'm just at the heart of it. I'm just a fan.
Yeah,
and I think you said the same thing about yourself.
Yeah, I love it. It's the best. Yeah. And to be honest, it's the riders that bring that excitement, and the good riders that bring a lot of that really good excitement and all that sort of stuff.
It's such a show. All right, so tell me about Civ Elite. How did this come about? How did you get started in earth moving to begin with?
I think it's just a love for machines. It's just a love for moving dirt. To be honest, it's almost like sometimes it's just explorative. You actually you turn new ground for the first time. I think it's cool. Yeah, I think it's cool. You can create a product that, fits a purpose. I'm not saying there's people out there that don't, but I'm just saying from my point of view that earth moving's cool.
So how did you get into it? Like, was this something you started as a kid? Were you playing in a sand pit with your Tonka trucks, or, was it when you're a little bit older?
It was definitely playing in the sand pit with my brothers and building trucks. I mean, it's the great outdoors. You talk to a majority of the people in the earth moving industry, or the civil industry. It's just the great outdoors. Yep. You're not talking to someone in the earth moving industry that enjoys going inside and going on a movie binge. And I got nothing against a movie binge, but when I'm talking to people on site, and that's where it all sort of started. When I'm on site with all the guys, we're talking about camping, we're talking about riding bikes, we're talking about just the great outdoors. And I think that's ultimately, if you love it, earth moving, civil, it's for you. Man, it's a massive industry. Like the amount of people that ride dirt bikes and do this sort of stuff that are in civil, in earth moving, like it's huge. The amount of people that ride dirt bikes that work for the company, also huge.
Yeah.
Like 30% of our company is made up of people who know how to ride a dirt bike.
It was like you said, they're just people that love the outdoors.
100%. Yeah, all of them.
So Civ Elite, I'm anticipating don't do any track building. So how does the track building fall into, what you've done and how you got into the track building side of things?
Yeah. Civ Elite doesn't. Civ Elite's a real commercial based in construction, and it provides an opportunity to everyone that works for it. So Civ Elite doesn't do any track building. The track building sort of thing, come along from just riding dirt bikes as kids, building jumps. That's where it all sort of started. Yeah, when I was 10, I had 4 weeks off school to do the landscaping at a new house that we moved into when we were a family. Dad built the house, and I took 4 weeks off school and did the landscaping and I was in the skid steer, and I guess that's sort of where it started. And
At 10 years old, you said?
yeah, so the guy who was doing the landscaping was like, "Here's a shovel, you're on the shovel." I was like, "Nah, I'm gonna be in the bobcat." And we had a skid steer that you used to pull start.
Yeah.
And anyway, that one was a little bit too small. So we had another one. It was a Bell 930, I reckon it was. And I mean, if you're back in the day, if you knew what that was, yeah, you're going back a bit. But yeah, that's sort of where it started. And I'd already been in the skid steer, and that's sort of just where it all started. And to be honest, where it's always been. I know how to operate all machines, but skid steer is just one of those things. And came through, and as the years sort of progressed, I just built motorbike tracks in the backyard and some for other people. And yeah, I think I was around about 15 years old, and Adrian Mariner came round. He was a friend of my dad's, and he did a lot of track building. And he came round and he's like, "Oh, who built this track?" And my dad was like, "Oh, that's Cam. He's not here at the minute, rah-de-rah." And he was doing some work at the house, and he's like, "Oh, okay." And then he sort of come back. He's like, "Oh, I'll bring my skid steer around," and he was doing some work on the driveway. And yeah, I got home from school one day and I seen the machine there, and I was like, "Whoa, what's going on here?" And I ran up to Ada and I'm like, "What's going on here? Is that your machine?" Like, I've never seen him. It was the first cat machine I'd ever seen. I'm like, "I've never seen a skid steer like that. That's cool." And then that was the old C pattern. That was sort of the first C pattern machine that I'd operated. And Ada was like, "Yeah, jump in." And so I was like, "Mate, are you serious?"
Kid in a candy store.
Yeah, right. I'm like, like, I get the chance. And so I was just straight in there. And then I was trying to clean up my jumps because we didn't have a skid steer at home the whole time. So I'm just trying to clean up my jumps around the track. And Ada was like, "No, this is cool. Like, you kind of actually, I think you kind of actually know what you're doing here." And I was like, "Wow, I'll try my best, rah-de-rah." So it went back and forth a few times, and then Ado came round and rebuilt the motocross track. When maybe, I'm going to say probably 2 years later, yeah, rebuilt the motocross track, and I sort of jumped in with him, and he's like, "You shape this, and then you shape that." And then anyway, he's like, "Look, I just got to go see your old man, and I'll be back." And I was like, "Yeah, right, oh, sweet." And then he come back, and he's like, "Oh, I've just went and seen your old man. I got a question for you. Do you want to come to Canberra?" I was like, "Oh, I guess. What's in Canberra? Like, what?" And I'm sort of, I think I was nearly 17, so I was 16 and a half. I'm like, "What's in Canberra?" And he's like, "Well, we got..."
Still at school at that stage?
Yeah, still at school. And he's like, "We got we've got to go build the World Cup track on Mount Stromlo." He's like, "We've got a downhill circuit we've got to build, and there's a four-cross circuit that we've got to build." And I'm like, "Really?" I'm like, "That's mountain bikes. I've never done mountain bikes." And he's like, "Yeah, but four cross is a little bit like motocross. I think you'll be sweet." And I was like, "I'm in."
Yeah.
So anyway, I think we left maybe 3 months after that, went to Canberra, and yeah, had a ball. And we did Canberra 2 years in a row. And honestly, when we first built that four cross track, we had, I think it was 3 or 4 different machines there, but it was just me and Ado. Back in the day, we were doing that for World Trail. They were the principal guys on the actual track, and Glenn Jacobs is a huge name in the industry. And yeah, that was sort of the first time that I'd never really done mountain biking, but the four cross was much like supercross, or much like the jumps that I'd been building for the last 2 years in the backyard. So I sort of really gelled with that, and that opportunity from Ado was massive. And I guess that's sort of where it kicked off. And then there's been many tracks after that. I've never actually done track building full time. I've never really been like a one track after the other, week after week. I've always had another sort of job in it. But I did, from that point on, that was my first exposure to the mountain biking industry. And I spent the next, after I finished my apprenticeship, I spent the next sort of 3 to 4 solid years in the mountain biking industry and walking trails.
Yeah. So you weren't doing any work, like civil work, outside of that, or work in the machines?
Nah, not civil. Civil came later. Civil came, long after that. So I'd only just been machine operating, building tracks.
Yeah. So what was that whole experience like? I mean, I helped build some of the mountain bike tracks out at PBI Ride Farm, and I know for me, like, getting in a machine and then working on the hill, that's a different animal, like compared to, being on a moto track. I found that, I'm not a machine operator by profession, and I'm certainly not overly good in one. But it's can be pretty scary, especially on those steep inclines, to make it all work.
Yeah, downhill, one of the best arts of building a downhill track is you got to know how to cover your tracks. So you're not building a downhill track that's 2.5 meters wide. No one's riding it.
Yeah.
You're also not building a downhill track that's only on a 5% gradient. You're also not building one that's on a 45% gradient. If you don't know how to see a downhill mountain bike track through the hillside, you will never be able to build one. And to be honest, there's not many guys that do it. There's a lot of guys, there's a lot of tracks being built, so there's enough people to cater to all of that.
Yeah.
But to have the actual eye for detail, to know what your slopes are, that's the biggest thing. That was what really opened my eyes to the mountain biking industry. And we did a lot of jump parks, like push bike jump parks, four-cross tracks, downhill tracks, enduro trails, like enduro mountain bike riding. Your grades are like everything, because you've got a downhill, like on a motocross track, you've got a throttle. So there's a portion of the machine that can accompany the incline or the decline, depending on where the track's going. In the mountain biking industry, four-cross especially, it's like supercross without an engine. You can't just slap one of those tracks together.
You need the momentum. Yeah.
You need to know what your grades are, and it's really, really tight. And I'm not saying supercross is not, but I'm saying that four-cross industry and BMX is one, but generally they're on a level surface. But that four-cross stuff, which has sort of fizzled out now, they don't do a lot of four-cross these days, just due to the nature of those circuits. They're hard to find. Like Mount Stromlo, for those who have been there, understand the four-cross track and what it was there. You need a big area. You need the right slope. You need a lot of dirt.
Yeah.
You need the right start. But that was cool. That was a really cool challenge. And I didn't, with Ado, the guy was a jet. He could see exactly what it needed to be. And a lot of the time we were working for Jacobs, and Jacobs, for those who know him, he's a superstar when it comes to that. So, and I've got a lot of friends in that mountain biking industry. There's a lot of riders out there that love building mountain bike tracks and riding them as well, more than the moto industry. But it was a cool industry to be a part of, and it's a cool industry to have connections to.
Like, you were never riding a mountain bike at that time, were you?
Nah, I was motocross only sort of thing.
Yeah. So your vision, when you look at like a four-cross track, or you're envisaging a downhill track, trying to make it work to the landscape, it's purely off your expertise in a machine and what needs to happen, but not as a rider. Nah,
exactly that.
Yeah.
And like that's where, that's where I preach to Ado that he's the instrument and I'm the object in that instance. I'm the one that's doing everything, and he's the one that's going, this is where we're going. Because I can't. And even today, I try and build, like, you try and see that stuff through. Walking trails is another entire beast, which we spent a solid 2 years in. But yeah, just that sort of stuff. It's just, at the end of the day, it's detailed to work.
But I mean, the walking tracks is like the polar opposite. You're trying to keep things as flat as possible, but get to places that you need to get to.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the polar opposite.
Yeah. So, and it's good. The mountain biking industry was good. Yeah, I think that's where I sort of cut my teeth.
Yeah, but we definitely would have taught you a lot of skills and expertise in operating the machinery. So how did you actually get into the motocross side of things? Obviously, you've already said you're a rider.
Yeah.
How did the work side then move into motocross? Like, what was your first gig on a motocross track?
The motocross is very hit and miss, was for us back then.
I think nowadays there's a lot more tracks, like big professional tracks being built on private property.
There is now. Yeah, back in the day, and I'm talking like right now. We're talking sort of 2007 to 2015. The motocross stuff was commercial private tracks. So I remember building, for the Colac Motocross Club, the racetrack at the Simpson Showgrounds for the Simpson Show. There was a track that we built at the Colac Showgrounds for the Colac Show. Ado was the guy to go to.
Yeah.
He was just the guy to go to. He was always that sort of front runner, and I was just the guy, doing what's needed to be done in the background and with Ado when he was there. And that's where the motocross, that's, I guess, where it came from. We did a lot of tracks. We did a lot of track repairs. But in those early days, that's where it come from. And then, we did for when the Junior World Cup track when the Junior Worlds came over to Australia. I went to Horsham in, I reckon it was 2017. I went to Horsham, and Ado wasn't around for that one there, but I was able to set up we set up a sponsorship with ProQuip for the MX Nationals. So I got a great relationship with Hancock and Kenny and all those guys, and at the Horsham Motocross Club. And I sort of went to them and they came to me, and it wasn't really like either of us really approached each other. I just knew that I really wanted to help out and they really wanted the help. So I guess that's probably that mutual connection there where it was. Yep. And so I reached out to them and said, hey guys, what are you doing? We got the Junior Worlds. This is massive for Horsham. This is massive for Australia. What's going on? And they were like, well, we've got to, we've kind of got to, if we're going to do track changes, we need to do track changes now, because for the next 12 months, we've got recruiters, we've got kids, we've got everyone coming over here to ride Horsham. We can't change the track before the race. And I was like, well, I'm in. And we had the MX Nationals. It used to start at Horsham every single year, first round, straight off the calendar. And they're like, if we're changing the track, we're doing it now. So I went there for 2 weeks, stayed at Hancock's place, and ProQuip, which is a rental agency in Victoria. I think they got a couple of branches. Back then, they were just sort of kicking off. And I had a good relationship through them with commercial, civil, and work and whatnot. And I reached out to them and said, hey, do you guys want to throw a machine at this and support it? And they were up in arms. I was like, yeah, man. They were high-fiving.
So can I just ask, at that stage, when you weren't working on the mountain bike trails and, out at Horsham, what were you doing for a crust in between? Were you working as a mechanic or were you doing civil works by that stage already?
So, I'd finished. I did mechanics because I needed to know how to fix these machines that we were running the whole time. I had a lot of advice from a lot of people in my life, and one being my father, that just said, if you're going to operate a machine, you need to know how to fix it. Because if you're operating a machine, it's going to break. Yeah. And if you can't fix it, you're not operating a machine. It was like a catch-22. So I went and did an apprenticeship, and I called that one short. We were plugging computers into cars, and I'd sort of figured out that I'd sort of known enough. And by the time I went fourth year, I was like, I'm kind of out. And that was when that started.
Yep.
So the crust in between was the walking trails. Yeah, everything else was motocross when it needed to be there, mountain biking stuff when it needed to be there, Townsville Dirt Jump Park, all those sorts of things.
Sounds like a bit of a dream gig, actually.
Well, we used to travel. We travelled Australia.
Yeah.
So, we travelled Australia. So, and that was where, when it's too wet down here, you go where it's dry. Yeah. And when it's too wet up there, you come back down here. So that was a solid 3 or 4 years.
So back to Horsham then.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you got the track done for the Pro MX.
Yeah. So ProQuip jumped on board, and that was my first sort of opening up to reaching out, talking to people about, being a part of the industry, the support that it actually takes to get these things off the ground and get them running and get them to a high level. So we went to Horsham for the Pro MX, set up ProQuip and got the track built. I've actually still got my Rooster shirt from the Australian Juniors, which is pretty cool. You hold these things close to your heart. Yeah. And for me, it was another World Cup track to sort of put together. Even though it was for the Nationals, we made some through that 2 weeks that we spent out there. We made some really good changes and got some good headway. And Horsham was such a good club too, so that was a really cool part about it. They were so accommodating. Again, it wasn't like they reached out to me and it was this whole commercial arrangement. It was honestly just two worlds colliding, going, hey, I've got something that can really help this. You guys have got something that, you guys are not after the help, but open.
You're part of the same family.
Yeah. And it's clubs. Clubs are hard to crack. There's a lot of strong opinions in a club, and some clubs don't like you really coming in and having much of a say for one. But
especially that Kenny guy, mate. He listens to all these podcasts, so I'll give him a shout out.
But sometimes you change what they love. They got members that got to keep happy. The clubs are tricky.
So you work there all year. Is there a massive sort of sense of pride, like when you then see an event of that scale and the riders tearing around on something that you've created or been a part in creating?
Yeah, there is. It's honestly, I don't know. It's a feeling that you just can't. It's a feeling you can't actually express what it means. And the reality of it is because you're a part of a minority.
Yep.
For as long as I was young, I was building dirt bike tracks at home for my brother and all his mates to ride. And I had a track at a house that we had in Moriac, me and Soph, and you just, I don't know, it's hard to explain the feeling, but that sense of pride when someone rides a track that you've been a part of building, for me, is enormous. For some people, it's like, dude, you're crazy. But for me, I can't. I honestly, it's a feeling that's just so, exuberant. Is that the right word?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. And I know what you're talking about. I mean, completely different levels. I built a track at my in-laws' farm. They're up near Shepparton, and I would spend, we'd go up a lot with the family when the kids were still riding especially, and I'd spend as much time in the tractor with a front-end loader building the track as I would riding my dirt bike. Yeah. Because I think I enjoyed both equally.
Yeah.
And then, building something that works and then tweaking it, and then, when it's just right, it's fucking unreal.
And you like, we won't sit here and talk about all the tracks, but you literally rock up somewhere, and for the entire time you're so invested in building this track, and it's creation. Like you're creating something. You get that creative spirit, and you just let it flow, and you just think, this is where that jump needs to go. This is where that berm needs to go. This is where the roller needs to go. Let's split lane this. Let's do, something else. You're building a track for someone who just wants a track so bad. So it's just the entire thing that what you're actually doing. It's also enormously appreciated.
Yeah, you're bringing someone else a lot of joy.
And it doesn't matter if they're a paying customer or you're doing it out of the goodness of your heart because it's family. You rock up, like the amount of times that as a kid, I always remember I would stop everyone from riding the track. I'd be like, no one is riding this track until I'm finished. And then I'd finish the track and everyone would be on the track and they'd be like, dude, I can't wait to ride this. Like, we've got to ride it. Like, let's get our bikes out. And I'd be like, nah, I'm watering it. They're like, what? Doesn't worry about the water. Let's just ride it. And I'm like, nah, I just spent 2 days building this and now I'm watering it before we ride it. It's just that feeling. It's just such a pride. You've built something that was never there and that is got such a purpose in your life as a person who loves riding dirt bikes. Like, everyone loves hitting a fresh jump.
Yep.
Everyone loves fresh turns. Everyone loves a fresh track. And when you can do that, I don't know, and you can see people ride it, it's just cool. And that's what's cool. Yeah, that's what's cool about all of it. Mountain biking, the whole lot. You see someone head down a mountain bike trail, you meet them at the end.
I've just learned a lot about you in the way that you describe that, and I guess the best similarity I can describe, like in your mind and the way you operate, like you're an artist, because it's like someone who's painting a picture.
Yeah.
Like you don't want to show the world until it's finished.
Yeah.
When I take a photo and I look at it through the camera, I go back to the computer and I'll do my tweaks, but I don't want anyone looking over my shoulder until it's all done. Like it's just, it's that the process to get to that end result is as important to you. Yeah. And then what you've delivered at the end, that's what you want the world to see.
Yeah. And I guess it is. And it's a little bit, it's not cringe to say it's an artist, but that's what it is. It's artistry.
Oh, for sure.
The definition of artistry is exactly that.
Yeah.
Coming up with something on the fly, creating something that's never been created before and showcasing it because you love it.
Yeah.
And that's like, for me, yeah, it's really cool to see that. And the best part about motocross is the bikes absolutely trash it. Like if you ride the track you've just built, it's absolutely ruined. Yeah. And guess what? You get to do it again.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's a different animal again. So, all right, let's move on to the supercross stuff. So you do a bit of work for Pro Tracks.
Yeah.
You obviously were at all the rounds last year for the 2025 Supercross Championship.
Yeah.
How long have you been working with them for? And what's your role with those guys?
Josh is a long-time friend, and I think I got an enormous amount of respect for Josh and what he puts into the moto world and the whole entire industry. My role at the Supercross is I'd probably just call myself one of the operators.
Yep.
I had a cracking time this year. I wasn't at Adelaide for the track build, unfortunately. I was only there for the races, for track prep. I got there on the Friday. But I got to do the whoops with Josh all year, and to be honest, that was actually really cool. That was never something spoke about. That was sort of just something that, I don't know, happened. And the whoops were an enormous thing on every track last year, every track this year. They always are. So it's really cool to be able to be in those and have something to do in those. And I guess just with the whole Pro Tracks thing, I like to be a part of the group of guys. I have to take time away from work to do the stuff with Pro Tracks, which I don't. That's really tough to get away from Civ Elite, but it's I don't know. It's just that passion again. It's hard to entirely explain to the listeners that may or may not understand it. But for me, it's just that sense of creativity again, where. I mean, I
think they'll be able to hear it in your voice. I definitely can, sitting across from you. So
yeah. I think it's just that sense of creativity and designing and building something that, I mean, the Supercross has AME bring the house, and there's a lot of people that rock up there, and just to hear the compliments on the track, they're not to me directly, they're to the group as a whole, but it's just really cool to be a part of it.
So you were in the skid steer mostly, and you were building the whoops. Was that your main?
Yeah. So I spent a lot of time. I spent a lot of time in the whoops this year. But
that explains a bit, because I was going to say that the tracks were awesome except for the whoops.
Yeah, really appreciate that, Pete. Really appreciate that.
Just joking.
Nah, yeah, it's whatever needs to be done, whether it's rhythm lanes or berms or whatever. It ultimately it's whatever Josh needs to be done, whatever the group of guys needs to be done. I don't think we run no real set sort of, hey, you do this. Everyone's able to flow between the entire thing.
So how many guys has Josh got working at Pro Tracks to build a Supercross track? Like, how many of you are there?
Changes depending on the route. Depends on the setup. Yeah, I don't know how he mans it. I think, but there's generally 6 of us.
Yep.
Yeah, and he mans it different every round. Like it's whatever it needs to be. This year was a pretty sturdy, sort of solid, sort of 4 to 5 of us, and then there was a couple of other guys that helped on other rounds where
just
they could.
Ring in for each round.
Yeah, and where they needed to, and then there's Marvel. I mean, Marvel's enormous. I don't even know exactly the ins and outs of Marvel, and Josh will talk. Josh should talk to that. You know, when he's on here, I'm sure he'll be on here. But yeah, Josh will talk to that part. But Marvel's massive. There's a huge crew. There's not 6 there. That's 24 hours a day.
Yeah, and I think there was 5,500 tons of dirt. Is that about right?
Yeah,
it's
massive.
Yeah,
it's literally. Yeah, it's trucks run the dirt in. I think they stop for like 24 hours, and then they start running the dirt back out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've got a few questions about that. When it comes to the track design, like, who designs the track? Do you guys, or, Josh, does he have a say in that? Or is it just you guys are handed a design and it's like, build this? How does that work?
Nah, Josh does all the designs.
Oh,
I'm
fantastic.
Pretty sure. Josh does all the design. There's no better person to do them. Yeah, there's honestly no better person to do designs.
So he's given the footprint, the area.
Yeah.
How much dirt roughly we've got.
Yeah. And these, like, you can't miss with these designs. Like, the amount
there's no room for error. No.
Nah, and like I talked to Josh about it, but the amount of scrutiny that these tracks go under from an MA point of view, the promoters, AME and all those guys, they need them to be right. Dude, the riders need them to be safe. Nah, design's an enormous part of it, and Josh takes care of all of that. And I'm almost certain he takes care of all of that.
Yeah, and most of the time, like, from my experience, we'll get there for press day, and that's where you guys sort of the dirt is nearly all in, or it's still coming in.
Yeah,
and that's sort of the day before. Like, how long do you guys get to build the track on the average?
Yeah. Sometimes the media guys get in the way. It's really weird, so we've got to.
We do that.
I think it generally. No, it's not very long. We've got about.
Do you feel like you're under pressure when you're building?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I do. Yeah. I think we spend about. I would say it's anywhere between 30 to 40 hours, maybe 30 hours to get the track built.
So you're working into the night as well?
Nah. there's a lot of stadiums that have a curfew and you can't run. Marvel doesn't, but Marvel's different. Yeah, Marvel's completely different. But there's curfews. You gotta run to set times. Usually it's like 6 in, 6 out, no later. Sometimes, depending, they might be able to push the curfews, but I don't have a whole lot to do with any of that sort of stuff. But we're usually 3 days, 3 days to, and that's to start getting the dirt in.
Yeah. And do you guys, or Josh's crew, do they have to put all the ply and the geomatting down, or is that already done for you guys? And then it's like, all right, it's time to start bringing in the dirt.
Yeah, the ply and the geomat's done by different crews.
Yep.
And that's all the AME sort of stuff. They organise all that. I don't have a heap to do with all of that. Brooksy and Todd and all those guys do all that they handle all that sort of stuff. Brooksy and Todd, they're really good dudes. I shouldn't swear, but they're really good dudes. And they know how to build a track. Todd does it all too. Yeah. So everyone's it is a team.
Yeah.
But yeah.
All right. Speaking of knowing how to build a track. So in your experience as an operator, we'll just say, we'll throw you in the skid steer. For a start, how do you know what's going where? Do you set out the track before you begin? Do you put marks on the ground? When you're starting from scratch and the dirt's coming in, how do you know where? There's such a step from building a track from on paper to going to a stadium and knowing where shit's going to go. Yeah,
there is. Yeah, it's all just set out, and we all get a track map that Josh has done, and we all sort of run the survey and mark it all out.
So do you just have key points that you sort of have to work between, or?
Yeah. Josh is usually in front, making sure all that stuff's right.
Yep.
And then we've got to do our cross checks and balances after the fact and make sure that we're getting it right too. Josh leads the charge on that.
Yep.
And again, if it's out and they may kick it back and you're an hour from gate drop,
you're in trouble.
You're in a lot of trouble, man. You're in a world of hurt. You got to promote it. It hurts everyone.
Yeah.
So it's all got to be right. Josh leads the charge on all of that sort of stuff. That's all pinned out, marked out. We've all got a track map, so we've got a gauge of what's going on, and so we know in the machine where we need to be, where the track needs to be. But all that stuff's led the charge by Josh and Quinny as well. Quinny's he's a massive part of that, the whole, Josh's operation. He's a huge part of Pro Tracks, Quinny is. So he takes care of a lot of that stuff too.
But the nuances of building a jump or an obstacle, when it comes to the angle of the up ramp, the length of the jump, you've obviously got a certain amount of dirt. When you're building it as an operator, are you measuring the angles, or it's just based on your experience? Can you eyeball it and go, this is how it's got to be? Because one thing with supercross tracks is worldwide, there's a level of uniformity. You know, how big's a triple, how big's the double, how big are the whoops and how far apart they are.
I guess where you're going with that question. Yeah, I understand what you're trying to ask. Once those marks are set and that dirt's there, you're on your own.
Yep.
You are entirely on your own. You've got a very small window of what it needs to be, and it needs to be right. So everything's measured, and you've got to know everything's measured. Every 3 footer, every 5 footer, every whoop's measured from a dirt point of view, so you know how much you need. But it definitely comes down to getting it right as an operator. And that's where that, I guess, I don't know, to claw back to it, that's where that artistry comes in. Yep. You've got to know, you've got to be able to get it right. If it's wrong, you're told.
Oh yeah,
if you're wrong, it's told, and you cleaned up. And that might be from Josh, that might be from someone else, but that's going, oi, bud, you've made a mistake there. Yeah. Might be, I could say it. Sometimes in the machine, you're 8 hours into sitting down, going through rhythm lanes, you can miss some stuff, and you need the whole team to sort of pick up and go, oi, you've done that bit wrong. Yeah, I can see that. I'll go back and fix that. Beers on me later.
So what's it like when you're in the machine? Are you talking to people over the headset? Are you listening to an audio book or music?
I talk to myself a lot.
Yep. I've seen that through the window in the machine. I'm like, this dude's crazy.
Yeah. No, I don't know. You sing, you talk to yourself, you're stressed. There's a whirlwind of emotions, and sometimes, dude, when you're finishing, you're so pumped.
Yeah.
If you're finishing a rhythm lane, you're pumped. You can't contain the excitement. But Nah. Otherwise we're on the radio. At times, depends when it becomes real clustered, and you've got infrastructure coming in. We're on the radio.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've all got to be speaking to each other, and safety's an enormous part of it too, which I didn't realise until you come into it and
Until you run 3 people over and
and they're all
buried them in the dirt.
Yeah, and I don't know where they are to this day. Like, no, I'm just kidding. So yeah, and that's where you start running radios. You got to start talking to everyone else.
Yeah,
and that's a huge part when it comes to race prep too.
I mean, when I get to see that on press day, sort of when you guys are right in the swing of it, for me it looks like a well-oiled machine. Like, you've all got a section of the track that you're working on. There'll be still dirt getting brought in. There'll be guys in loaders and dozers, and then you've got the guys in the skid steers doing their thing, and there'll be someone out with a measuring tape. I'm assuming all the operators are very good at what they do.
Yeah, well, but considering I'm here, I can probably say I'm the only good one, and they're not. They're not here. They can't protect themselves, so now we're laughing and just it's free for all. But nah, I think all of them are, 100%. Yeah, and everyone can chip in wherever they need to and do whatever they need to do.
So in between the races on like a supercross event, do you get to chill out and watch the racing and take it all in, or are you so focused on which parts are breaking down and what's going to need to happen in the breaks? Because obviously you guys get all of about 6 minutes to get out there and make all the repairs.
Yeah, we come up with a plan. You're always watching the racetrack. There's times where you got to go eat.
Yeah,
but you're always watching the racetrack. I don't think anyone, a part of the crew, can actually really get away from it either. It's what you're there for. There's a lot of hype around the whole thing. There's a lot of pros waltzing around. There's a lot of everything going on. There's a lot of, industry people rocking around. Marvel's a big one for it, but I think most of the time you just focus on the track. It's, it's not that you got a job to do. You've got an opportunity to create and build a racetrack, and man, you don't want anyone saying anything bad about the racetrack, and there will be people that will say it was, it wasn't the best track, or this could have been better, or that could have been better.
Usually guys like me.
Yeah.
On a podcast.
Yeah. Just running their mouth. But you're watching the track. You want the track to be what you think is right.
Yeah.
And that's where, when it comes to race prep, that's a completely different scenario, Jack. I don't make the calls on where we go. I just go wherever it needs the attention. This year, a lot of the time was the whoops. It was, Bongers, you're straight to the whoops. They need to be done. You've got 12 minutes in there. Take 3 minutes. I want you to hit that berm, then get out.
Yep.
So,
just going back a step, in terms of the opinions when it comes to the track build, I mean, you've got, as a track builder, you're dealing with so many people that have a different perspective, from the riders to the officials like your MA guys, to sometimes the dads of the riders. They've probably got an opinion even though they've never ridden a dirt bike in their lives. Yeah. How do you juggle all that? Do you just is it water off a duck's back, or does it because I'm sure everyone's got an opinion and they all want to tell you what you've done right and what you've done wrong. You got to take it on the chin. Last year was different. There was a lot of 85s on the track last year, and it was sort of a really big thing last year. And then this year it was like the 85s are on the 450 track. That's how it felt this year. I think that's the way it should be, really. Yeah, and the triple in Cronulla was a big thing. That was really hard for the 85s, but that was really also a technical section for the 450s and the lights in the 450s. So you've really got to take it on the chin. And I mean, there's a few people out there that gave some really good feedback across all 5 rounds, riders. There's a really short line between someone having a say because they think it can be better and someone having a say because they're struggling. Yep. And I think, there's riders out there that'll be like, oh, this part's rubbish, man. I don't know what they've done over there. They're actually just struggling. Yep. And we cop the blame. And that's where, I don't deal with it at the forefront. That's where I'm call it lucky, dude. I get to sit in the machine, man. I'm working on the track. I'm not the face of it out there. I'm one of the guys on the ground. So, unless someone's whinging about the whoops, then
that's probably something that I'd take offence to. But no, you gotta seriously just be able to take it on the chin and walk away. They don't want a retaliation. Sometimes they just want to tell you how they're feeling, and you're the track crew, man. You're just a sounding board.
Yeah.
But it depends on who's coming to you, because MA can come to you too and say, "Oh, that gap there's too far," but dude, they're clearing it. They're like, it's right. And honestly, the trickiest part about it is you've got no time to take it in because you're so busy and you've got so much going on. But guess what? You've got to spend 5 minutes taking it in because they might be right or they might be wrong. And then you might not get a chance to fix it anyway, so it just stays.
Yeah.
So, but there was a few, like there was one of the rounds this year we noticed a kicker, and you could tell in practice there was a kicker. I was like, man, there's something not riding right over there. Do you know what I mean? One of the riders we spoke to and said, hey, you were having dramas with that over there. Talk to me, what's going on? Because it's wet and it's rutting, but what's going on?
Was that Adelaide?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're like, it's wet in the base, and we had a heap of rain, and it was wet. It was wet in the transition, but the top of the jump was dry. So they were rutting through the transition, but the top was dry, so it wasn't chewing out, and it was kicking them. So you just have to fold that over and get that squared away. Now there was privateers.
Was that the last triple in the rhythm lane?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nah, the middle. It was off the back of the 5 and into the 3. There was privateers that were hitting that kicker, and there was factory riders that were hitting that kicker. Yeah, you sort of notice it, and I think that's just that rider that comes out in you and that is able to pick that up visually and then go, I can see not a complaint, because honestly this year, I didn't. Again, I'm not the face of the brand, but I didn't pull many complaints this year. I thought this year everyone was pretty happy with the work that the
tracks were unreal this year.
Yeah, the tracks this year.
Except the whoops.
So that's where, but yeah, you know it's coming.
Yep.
You know it's coming. And I actually enjoy the criticism because honestly, for the most part, some of it's constructive. The best criticism of a track comes from race teams, not riders. So you got mechanics that watch riders every single week in a supercross series. They know what's wrong with the track.
Yeah.
You want to find out what's wrong with the track, don't initially focus on the rider. Just ask the mechanics. Just ask the people from the race teams watching. You got Daka, you got Urive, you got Tice, Cherry, you got all those guys that are running these teams. Dude, they want if there's someone scrutinising the track, it's them too. They got riders trying to win a championship. They're not out here watching their friends ride dirt bikes. They're trying to win. So if they got something they want changed on the track, for one, they're not coming to me. But generally, from what I know, they got the most to say as well.
Yeah. And going back to what you said before, the ego is removed when it's the mechanic. They know if their rider is struggling with it or if the track is actually a problem as well.
100%.
Yeah.
And you can't hold it against a rider if he's having a bad day, but the mechanic knows if it's a bad track and if it needs. And as I said, I feel like this year was really good. Like we didn't do too many changes this year. The stuff at Adelaide, the effect of the rain at Adelaide, dude, it pumped rain at Adelaide.
I did not think that we were going to have a race on, I think it was the Saturday.
Yeah.
Obviously the whole schedule got delayed, so it was only the afternoon schedule, and the track was amazing for the amount of rain that we had all night long and through the morning.
Yeah,
I got there, and by the time we went on track walk, I was blown away at how solid and firm the track was.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, that just comes down to the whole crew, eh?
Yeah.
Everyone put in that morning. And we knew we needed to. I remember getting to the track, man, it was like 5:30 and we're all on the phone to each other, getting to the track going, dude, what are we doing? And that, again, talking to it, that's the thrill, man. That's that's you've got a track that needs to be raced and you're the only crew there to make that happen. So
I love all the Supercross. It's my favourite event of the year. Marvel is obviously, the pinnacle. It's amazing. But for me, Adelaide was my favourite round this year. And if I was talking about it with some of the other media guys, I don't know for the footprint that you guys had, how you could have made that track any better. For me, like as a spectator, as a fan, even like looking through the lens, that whole event for me was just so sick. The racing was so good.
Yep.
And coming off last year, I actually liked the track last year. The riders didn't dig it so much, but like the improvement in all aspects was just it was on a different level last year.
Yeah, and that's coming back down to the design, man. Like I don't know how Josh does it.
Yeah,
but when you piece them together off the plan, you soon realise when you're 3/4 of the way through that this thing's going to race sick. Yeah, so that's pretty cool.
Then when you see 30,000 people cheering the riders on the thing that you've created, that's the icing on the cake.
It is, man. It really is. There's nothing really compares, and Marvel's massive for that too. There's there's a lot of people with our eyes on you too during track prep, man. It's daunting, eh? Yeah. You think people don't see some stuff, but people see. I made a mistake at Marvel, and one of the boys pulled me up, and I was like, "Did you see that?" And they're like, "What do you mean, mate?"
Well, you dug a chunk out or something? Or
the entire row, I was sitting in seeing that. Nah, race control was like, get off the track. We've got 30 seconds. And I was like, and I went over this 3 and the back of the skiddy just like dug right in. And I was like, well, there's a hole there, but I got to get off the track. Apparently we only got 30 seconds.
Yeah.
So I thought no one's seen it, but turns out a lot of people
did.
Seen it.
So did you actually get a chance to fix it, or it was like, nah, get off the track?
No, it didn't do a heap of damage.
Yep.
It's just that I went back over the 3-footer too quick. Man, I was trying to get out of there. I didn't know where I was up to. You got 5 minutes. You got 30 riders on the gate.
Yeah. No pressure.
I don't know what 3-footer is. I just know where the berm's going to be, and I'm just going back until I hit the berm. So
that's it.
you get a. That was I was rushing. I shouldn't have, but we had 30 seconds. I was on the other side of the track. I had to get off the track. Yeah. You got to do what race control say.
Unreal, man. It's I've loved hearing about this. I've always wondered sort of what goes into building a track at the Supercross.
Yeah.
And you've answered a lot of my questions, which has been awesome. I'm sure the listeners will appreciate it as well.
Wow, yeah. I mean, I feel like, I don't do much. I will say, like, I'm not, obviously Josh can speak to this so much better than I can. And, there's so many people that, like AME, they bring the entire house as well. So it's one of those things too. There's so many more people that can speak to what a Supercross track is. But it's cool to come here and share it from my point of view today. As one of the guys is on the crew, lucky enough to be on the crew with Josh, I get the opportunity to build a Supercross track, and for the last couple of years, and it's pretty cool. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's cool to be part of it.
So you'll obviously do it again if the opportunity's there?
Absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, it's sometimes it can certain clash with certain things, and this year's looking tough, but we'll see what we can piece together. I really love being a part of the team, and Josh has got an unreal crew, man, and he's got, there's a lot of people the amount of people I've seen ask Josh if he's got a job at the races. Like, do you know how this guy gets hounded, man? Yeah.
Anyone that's ever been in a machine and is a moto fan, that would be like a dream gig.
Yeah. So there's a bit of stuff going on this year, but there's I'm hoping to be a part of it again. It's Unreal Series, Unreal promoters. It's the same promoter. Like, since it's all changed, it's the same promoter all year. Man, it's an awesome team to be a part of. Everyone's friendly, everyone's helpful, it's just a good group of people.
Epic.
With a common goal.
We're going to take a quick break to listen to some words from our sponsors, and then when we get back, we're going to talk some of your riding and racing.
Oh, look out.
We hope you're enjoying the show. Here at Mental for Moto, we can only do what we do because of the sponsors who support us. So please stay tuned for a couple of brief ads and make sure you show these legends some love.
Are you getting arm pump, fatiguing after just a few laps, or feel like you're often fighting against your bike? Today's motorcycles have been designed and built to suit a broad range of riders, conditions, and riding styles. This one-size-fits-all approach, however, means that when it comes to your own riding, your bike is often not handling and performing at its very best. Whether you're a weekend warrior or an elite-level racer, Fastline Suspension will help you unlock your riding potential by ensuring your bike is set up perfectly for your specific needs. And with the right setup, you're guaranteed to go faster, fatigue less, and ultimately have more fun riding your motorcycle. So what are you waiting for? Contact Adam at Fastline Suspension now. Fastline Suspension, set up for maximum performance, precision tuned for you.
There's nothing more refreshing after a day at the track when you're sweaty, grimy and exhausted than taking a dip in the pool. Southeast Pools specialise in building high-quality fiberglass and concrete swimming pools across the Peninsula and Gippsland region and offer a range of designs to suit every lifestyle, yard size and budget. So pick up that phone, give Trav at Southeast Pools a call today and be ready to take the plunge this summer.
Hero helmets have won over 125 motorcycling world titles with world-renowned superstars including Antonio Cairoli, Jeffrey Hurlings, Martin Muscan, even Jason Anderson. From the world stage right down to the grassroots motocross scene, Arrow is the title sponsor of the Gippsland Motocross Championships and even supports up-and-coming local legends such as Memphis Stravina and Zayn McIntosh. As one of the lightest and safest helmets on the market, when it comes to protecting my most important asset, I choose Arrow as well. To check out the range of Arrow helmets, head into your local dealer today or click the link below to visit the website.
At Mental for Moto, our mission is to give the unsung heroes of Aussie motocross a voice. From grassroots racing right through to the biggest events in the country, sharing the stories you won't hear anywhere else. From the privateer chasing the dream, to the junior rider who's pushing for their first win, the mechanic who works late into the night to get the bike ready for race day, to the track builder who turns a pile of dirt into a work of art. This is the beating heart of our sport. We're able to bring these stories every week to thousands of Aussie Moto fans thanks to the generous sponsors who share our vision. If you're interested in the advertising packages that we have available, or just want to show your support, please check out our website, www.mentalformoto.com, and we can tailor a package to suit your needs. Now, let's get on with the show.
Okay, so we got a little bit of a taste of how you started riding. You said you had a track at home, your brothers rode as well. But how did it all start for you? Like, how did you first get into moto, and what were your influences?
I think my father, was probably my biggest influence back in the day. And then my older brother Lee he was a big influence too. I got two brothers, so we all sort of rode together.
Are they both older?
Nah, I'm the middle child.
Yep.
Yeah, best looking as
Explains
well.
a lot.
And so I think that's probably where it all kicks off. Just for most, like the same as most kids, you all got a dream of being outside. You just that's what you're doing. You can't sit still. You go outside.
Yep.
And
so how old were you when you first threw a leg over a dirt bike?
10.
Yep. So that's a bit later than a lot of.
Well, I had a 3-wheeler
Yep.
from when I was
Death Machine.
Yeah. So I rode a 3-wheeler. We used to go camping in the bush, and I rode a 3-wheeler from when I was 7. And never forget that. I got caught in first time we went out the bush. I got caught in some ruts. Man, I didn't know where I was. Everyone was gone. I jumped off the 3-wheeler, started running.
Just leave that there. That's fine.
My dad comes back and goes, Cameron, what are you doing? He goes, man, I thought you left me. He goes, where's the 3-wheeler? I said, it's stuck back there.
You can't park that there.
From now on, just stay with the bike, all right?
It's worth more than your life.
Yeah, you're no good without it. So that's sort of where it all kicked off, was riding a bike in the bush with the fam, and same as probably a lot of guys out there.
So you grew up on a bit of land, is that right?
Nah, lived in town.
Yep.
Yeah, lived in town. Old man was a builder, and we had a property. We had a farm. It was 30 acres just out of town. Some people probably wouldn't call that a farm, actually. There's some land out of town. Yeah, we used to just go riding bikes out there. And then I used to ride dirt bikes like after school around my dad's yard, builder's yard.
Yep.
I don't know. I just ran in circles.
So that was around Colac as well? That's where you grew
that's
up?
Colac, yeah. So that's where we grew up. So I don't reckon I hit the track at Colac motorcycle track until I was about 15. Yeah.
So that's when you started racing?
Yeah, it was. I had a TDR 125 and we used to ride that at home on the track. That was after we moved into the house.
That's a serious race machine there.
That's a serious. I snapped the frame on that thing 3 times. It went back for its first service, and the mechanic at the Colac motorcycle shop was like, "Mate, we've got to weld your frame back together." I was like, "Hey, look, I'm a big boy, but come on, you're picking on me a bit here." Anyway, I ended up snapping the subframe after that, which they were just like a steel. There was no bolts on the subframe of a TDR. It was just all frame, but. Yeah, that was a good thing. And then that was what I rode at Colac, out at the sand track there. And I guess that's where it kicked off, and got myself an RM125.
Yes.
And that's where it started. like my fondest memories of early childhood racing was a RM125 at Castlemaine.
Yep.
And the old man took me up there and we went racing, and I come back after the first race and he's like, "What are you doing, mate? All you're doing out there is changing gears." And I'm like, "Well, I don't know." He's like, "What? Like, what have you done?" I said, "Oh, I changed me sprockets." I thought I was a freestyler back then because we just had jumps. I thought I was a freestyler, so I just wanted low gears, and wasn't any good for racing. So yeah, I raced that bike for a year and a half, and then got a 250F. Yeah.
And were you sort of good at racing to begin? You'd obviously been riding for a long time.
Yeah. I don't think I was ever the fast guy. I was always able to jump. We had ramps. So my older brother built a 7-foot ramp, and we had a 7-foot ramp and a 5-foot ramp set up in front of a down ramp. And we used to have those set at 60, 70 feet. I was always really good at jumping, but I was never really the fast guy. Even when I got into my seniors, which was obviously straight after that, I didn't really do much junior racing. Even seniors, my best years were, front of B grade.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's still pretty good.
Yeah. I was never an A grade. I never actually got to A grade,
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's where it really kicked off. That ramps around home, and that's what we did. And I don't know how many times I've done circles and hit a ramp, We used to ride ramps for hours and hours on end.
Yep.
So, yeah, that's where it kicked off.
And so when did you start taking it more seriously, or did you start taking it more seriously and start racing like around, the regional events, the state events?
I reckon I was 17 and I got my first 250F. I got the KTM 250 SXF when they first come out. It was 06. Sorry, I was 16.
Yep.
And, man, that thing was like a beast. I don't know if anyone remembers when KTM first brought those bikes out with black wheels. Like the coolest bike after that, in my opinion, back then was a TM.
Yeah.
They came out with blue rims, Olin's forks, Olin's shock, EGS pipe. Like they were sick. My older brother had one of those. But that's where we got onto that. And then, yeah, we started racing and traveling around a fair bit.
Was it a whole family affair?
No, it wasn't actually. A lot of my races I travelled to with Das Costin. I used to his mum used to take us to a heap of races, and so
you've been friends since you were kids.
Man, Das, forever.
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. I don't think we've been friends forever. Yeah, but. So I went to we went to a lot of races together. We met through the Colac Motorcycle Club as well, and we were just both, Das is a little bit younger than I am, 2 years younger than I am, but yeah, we travelled and we raced. We rode all the time. We used to I remember pushing his bike to my parents' house just so we could ride after school because no one could take us there.
Yeah.
All our parents were at work, so we just pushed his bike. I tried to tow him on my push bike, and just so we could go riding. And that's when the racing was really sort of kicked off, and that was the last sort of 2 years of school. And then, turned 18, and the age-old story in 2007 all the way through to 2013 in my generation was you bought a high ace for 10 grand and you raced wherever you could. Yep. You raced everywhere. I guess that was the story tale of it. We had a van when I was 18 and we started racing.
So what were some of your most memorable moments or tracks, your favourite tracks during that time?
So I guess we raced the Western regions, being from Colac, and we did some really cool races. In the Vic titles, I don't know what year it was, but I ran it was 9th for the series in the lights B grade, and I was super pumped with that. But then that was when the whole transition came through from track building, and we went north. So loaded up the van, loaded up my high ace with everything I own, jumped in the car with the old boy and went to Townsville. Lived there for 6 months. And then I guess that's sort of, I raced for a solid 2 years before that, 2.5 years around Vic series, going through C grade, going into B grade, getting to the front of B grade sort of thing. And then, went to Queensland. And that's where sort of work took over a lot of the riding. And riding became riding just became like, all right, I've got some stuff that I really want to tick off here. Like I've raced and it's cool and I've really enjoyed it. I'm not the fastest. I don't really think I need to be. I don't think I'm ever going to be, whatever. I'm kind of really content here. I'm enjoying riding my bike and I know how to ride my bike. So then it was like, well, let's see where we can go. When we went to Townsville, I took my bike and I was like, right, I'm going to race in far north Queensland. And I was like, at the start, I was like, this is going to be pretty easy. We'll go to the Western Regions. Rock up in Townsville, go out to Maggie Island where we were living, unload all the stuff, head in, after work, first Friday night, first week of work. Righto, motorbike shop, charters, motorbike shop in Townsville. Let's go there. I go to the motorbike shop. I'm like, hey, I got no idea how this all works. Can we, like, where do I race? They're like, what, mate? I'm sorry, but what are you here for a bike? Like, what are you talking about? Well, I'm from Victoria, rah-de-rah. I just want to race, man. Like, I want to know where the races are. Like, is there tracks we can train on? And they're like, yeah, righto, sweet. Well, if you want to, there's a far north Queensland round this weekend. It's in Charters Towers. I'm like, oh, sweet. How good's that? I'm like, yeah, cool. Where do I enter? They said, nah, you don't enter. I said, what do you mean? They're like, you've got to be nominated. And I was like, wait, what? They're like, you can't enter the far north Queensland round. You have to be nominated by someone. You can't just come up here and race, mate. And I'm like, wait, what? So then I'm scrambling. Yeah. I'm like, who do I know in far north Queensland? You know, we're back on Facebook back in the days. I'm like, who do I know in far north Queensland? I find this guy, Warren Gill. He's friends with a good friend of ours in Colac. He's like, he races up here. He's racing it. He can nominate you. And I'm like, sweet, this is perfect. Done. Ring this guy. Hey, you got no idea who I am. I really want to race Charters Towers this weekend. He's like, yeah, man, come. I'll meet you at the track. Meet me there at 7 a.m. I'll nominate you at the entry. I'm like, wait, what? We don't have to do nothing, send nothing? He's like, no, you just nominate on the day. I'm like, oh.
It's Queensland.
All right, finally, a sigh of relief. This is awesome. Done. Righto, Charters Towers MX track. What the heck? We're 4.5 hours away. Surely, is this a stitch up? Is there a track like half an hour away? Surely I can just go race an hour away. Anyway, sure enough, we're 4.5 hours. So I'm like, righto, we're getting in the van, we're hightailing, we're heading to the race. And Charters Towers was really cool, man. There was some fast guys in far north Queensland, dude. There's some fast guys, wide open tracks. Like from what I'm used to, breakwater back in the day, like we're talking jumps, and these tracks are like wide open.
Yeah.
So that was sick. That was really cool. The next round up there in far north Queensland was same story. We've got to be nominated, rah-de-rah. Yep, cool. Where's the next round? Mareeba. And I'm like, wait, what? Mareeba? What? How far away is this joint? And I'm like, Warren, are you going to Mareeba? And he's like, nah, man. He's like, I'm not going to Mareeba. Do you know how far that is? I'm like, that's the next round. He's like, yeah, I know that. We don't race those. I'm like, heck. Righto, so Mareeba's like, if for anyone who doesn't know where Mareeba is, Townsville is like 3 hours from Cairns. Mareeba's like another hour and 52 hours from Cairns. So we're talking another 5 hours of driving.
Oh, wow. And
I'm like, heck, man. So I had some friends in Cairns. I knew who could get me nominated. And we headed to Mareeba to race. And, like, that was a real eye-opener. Benny Bacon, who was working with us, he jumped in the van. He's like, dude, you're driving 5.5 hours to this racetrack. We're staying the night. I'm like, yeah, I'm not. We ended up staying in this shaggy old pub in the back of the Atherton Tablelands, man, just trying to find a hotel to stay in. We walked in and we're like, why is the floor wet? And they're like, oh, we just hosed it out. I'm not about to get to political, but there was some items that had to be hosed out that caused too much drama. They're out the door. 10 o'clock, bars back open. We can have a beer again before we try and sleep in the shack that they just gave us for $58 a night.
It's been hosed out as well.
Yeah. So anyway, that was really cool. Mareeba and Queensland was really cool, and travelling around Australia racing was unreal. And that was where I was like, man, I had so much fun, the people I met. I got third that weekend in Mareeba in what they called the B grade class, and I was pumped.
Did you just race around work, or did you work around racing?
No, I raced around work, but my boss, Ado, at the time, he was unreal. Yeah, he was all for it. He loved it. So, yeah, he'd let me leave on a Thursday and let me come back on Tuesday, and he knew how far we were travelling to racing, and I wanted to do it. I took my bike. That's all I had up there. I didn't know anyone else. We didn't know anyone. Yeah. So, yeah, that was cool. That was really cool. And then in 2000 and I might have been 21, 12 of us went to America. That was cool.
So tell me about that.
Yeah, so my older brother set it up. He was like, "Oh, we're gonna go over, and we're thinking about going over to race SoCal." Stephen Hyton was over there, Matt Cox, Zach Hoffa. There was a fair few Aussie boys over there that was running it.
So how long were you going for? What was the plan?
We went for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So, and there's a lot of people that have done it now. I don't know what year we did it. I'm going to say we did it in like 2011. And we went over there and rode over there, which is another highlight. And I think this is where you soon learn that dirt bikes can honestly take you all the way around the world. And we lived at the Race SoCal Ranch. We were there for 2 weeks, and then we travelled for a week. Milestone, Parla, Paris, all that sort of stuff. And that was cool. The bikes were they were just stock Hondas A. And there used to be
They're just hire bikes?
Yeah, they were just hire bikes. And Matt and Brad Buckle and Zach and all those boys, they were prepping the bikes. They worked for Steve Hyton. He was, giving them an opportunity to live the dream in the States, and that was really cool. And we went over and met with those guys and rode with those guys for 2 weeks, and some of them were clapped out, man. I rode this 250, and I remember we were at Parla, and there was this 125-foot triple there, and we started hitting it. Jet Hanna was there, and Jesse Hanna, and he's like, just follow us in. And me and Al Lewis, he was on a 450, and I was like, yeah, well, I'm just following you guys. And this thing was 4th gear wide. Anyway, then we come round, and my exhaust blew out. Like full hole in the side of the exhaust, and the thing was so loud. Yeah. And I was coming around Parla, you'd come round and then you'd drop down in this hill. For those who have been to Parla know it's huge. It'd be 100 foot from the top to the bottom. So you sort of really drop in on this triple. They reverse it. I don't think it's there anymore. They change all the time. But yeah, man, I hit this thing wide open in 4th with the blown exhaust, and it was so loud. But these are the fond memories that you make.
Yeah. These
are the fond memories that you've got. You've got 12 of your mates there. Like, everyone's having a grouse time. And
so you're just riding for fun at this stage?
Yeah, that's where it's sort of... I wasn't gonna, it's not that I wasn't gonna make it as a racer, but I had a hell of a lot of fun just knuckling down and racing and doing everything I could, or everything that I was doing, to try and be as good as I could. And I was super content with where I was. So riding just became, honestly, it was more than a hobby, but riding just became a real passion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So of your time in America, what's the culture like there? Like, on a practice day, is it similar to Australia? Is it tell me about it, because I obviously haven't been over there. So
the culture in America, the best way that I can describe it, is exactly the same as a practice track in supercross season, or a practice day the weekend before the first Vic title. You've got every single person, it feels like, in America at these tracks is dialed in every day. There's the everyday punter there. Don't get me wrong, there's everyday punter. But there is professional racers everywhere. It don't matter where you go. Like, we seen James Stewart twice. We seen Malcolm once. We seen Kenny. There was everyone at these practice tracks. And we're just, a bunch of dudes from Oz just going and riding in America for fun. And these guys are everywhere. And to be honest, they don't think anything of it. Dino was massive back then. Dino was everywhere. So... Dino's obviously still big these days, but yeah, he was at all the tracks back there at the same time. So yeah, and your Cowie test tracks and all that sort of stuff. We raced an REM though at Glen Helen. That was pretty full on, because the pointy end of the class was fast. The pointy end of the class was real fast, and we I didn't race. Al Lewis, he was there with us. He raced the A grade class for what they called it over there. I just raced the B grade, but that was cool. I actually got 3rd place that weekend, so I've got a Glen Helen trophy at home, so that's pretty cool. But
that's sick.
Yeah, so I've got that's pretty cool.
I mean, Glen Helen has to be one of my favourite all-time tracks.
Yeah,
to watch the racing at, and even any content I love. Like, anytime Glen Helen comes up for me, that is such an iconic motocross track. What was that like as an Aussie boy to go over there and ride and race there?
For me, unreal. For everyone else, go and do it.
Yep.
Just get on the plane and go and do it.
Is it as gnarly as it looks though?
Yeah. and like the rock in the side of the hill, and the track changes all the time. The track changes every week, but they just know what they're doing. But I don't know, sometimes the track prep's unreal, sometimes the track prep's not, but the dirt just seems to be better. And I don't know, it's huge over there.
Across the board, you mean, the dirt?
Yeah, across the board, yeah. Like Milestone, when it was open, we were able to ride there, and the dirt was unreal. On every track that they had there was 4 tracks there when we were there, and they had the supercross track as well. But the dirt just seemed to be good. But Glen Helen, those hills at Glen Helen, they're not unrideable. If you know how to ride a dirt bike, you'll be riding the track. The track won't be riding you, sort of thing. So, but it's unreal. Like, as a recommendation, and every single person that's been there is going to tell you the same thing. If you haven't, go and do it. Like, get on a plane and go over there and ride. And we went when Soph and I got married. We went to America for our honeymoon, and I rang Steve and I'm like, dude, have you got a bike for 2 days? So we went riding.
Yeah.
And like, it's accessible.
Does Soph ride?
Nah, Soph doesn't ride. But like, that's where, like, for me, I was like, he's like, yeah, dude, I got a bike. And I was like, oh, damn, I got no gear. So I was like, Soph, we're going to have to go to Temecula Motorsports. I'm going to have to buy a fresh kit. We're going riding. Steve's got a bike. He's got a vacancy. So it's accessible. Like, you can get a bike.
Yeah.
And you need to know a few people, but you can know a few people. Benny Griffiths, he's an Aussie from over here. He's running Club Local. You can get a bike. You can get a bike in Temecula whenever you want. I'm sure the guy's going to be all for it if you hang him.
And do they just take you around to the tracks, like they have a schedule and you go? And
I don't know what Benny Griffiths is doing. You might need transport. We hired an F250 when we were over there, just because we wanted to hire one of those. And so I could have moved the bike. Steve took the bike to the track for me, but if you needed to get one off Benny, I think you just go pick it up off him. Yep. I don't know. He might have a van he might hire to you too.
Because I know there's a few mobs now that basically have an itinerary. They know what's open, when it's open.
Yeah, 100%. And to be honest, whatever it takes, it's worth it.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, in my opinion, if anyone needs a push, I'm pushing you. Like, if whatever it takes, it's worth it. So
would you go back and, say race the World Vets or something like that?
I really want to.
Yeah.
I really want to. So I've been training. I have been sort of trying to keep fit the last 2 years, and the Yard Gym in Geelong have actually I've been on a program with them, and they're kicking off a Yard 56 campaign that's, I don't know, must be pretty new for them. There was a bit of hype around it at the gym on the weekend, but yeah, so I am training at the minute with those guys, and I think the World Vets is probably something that, would be cool. And man, when we lined up at Oz Pro MX for the Vets class, there was like 3 or 4 guys heading over there too. Like, there's a lot of people going and racing it.
Yep.
So, again, it's got to be worth it, doesn't it?
For sure. Well, You've opened that door. It's definitely something I wanted to ask you about. So last year you went up to QMP and, you raced the Pro MX Vet class.
Yeah.
I mean, was that a bucket list item for you? Is that something you want to keep doing and get better at? Like, what's the plan there?
I don't know. Since I started racing the Vets class the last year and a half, it's just honestly really it's really good racing.
And you've obviously raced against these guys, a lot of the same guys, for a long time.
Yeah.
And you're mates with them. Like you mentioned Al Lewis just before. He's still racing the Vet class. So.
Yeah, he is. Al's fast, and that's where, like, the Vets class is good. It was definitely a bucket list item. We took the fam up there. We took the caravan. We camped at the track. You know how sometimes you think you're going somewhere and you might be the only one, and you get there and everyone's doing the same thing?
Yeah.
That was the Oz Pro MX Vets class. When you think you're rocking up, am I the only one with a caravan that's going to be there? Like, I don't know what's going on. Like, I don't know.
Have you never been to a Pro MX?
Like, I'm running VP. Am I going to be the only one? Yeah. Every vet on the line's got VP. Yeah. So, like, that's really cool. And I enjoyed that because...
Mate, there's guys in MX2 and MX1 with stockies. The vet bikes are always blinged up.
Yeah, I got way too much on my bike, but hey, I just want to make sure it doesn't kick me off. You know what I mean? I've got to be good to the bike, otherwise it won't be good to me. But that's where the Vets class for me, and I like going to Queensland because I had a lot of fun travelling and riding through the people I met. And I talk. I'm a pretty friendly guy. I could probably convince a tree to talk if I stood in front of it for long enough. But I like meeting people, and I like you know, especially like-minded people on the gate. Like, you know, you're in the vets class, you're at the Oz Pro MX, you're not going to be sitting next to some bloke who thinks he's going to take over the world.
Yeah.
Dude, you're talking to a bloke who's probably going to enjoy a beer as soon as the race is over for the day, and probably going to enjoy not washing his bike because he's too sore for the next week. Like, you're sitting next to like-minded people. I just think it's a cool place to be. And when you look at the Oz Pro MX and what they've done with the series, especially the last 2-3 years, like that joint's, like, it's elevated a lot. Not saying it wasn't ever, but it's elevated a lot. The entire marketing campaign around the Oz Pro MX is huge these days, and I just think it's really cool to be a part of it. You've got a high standard of track. I'm not sure I don't know who it was that actually prepped the track. I do know the guy. I've forgotten his name. He was in the dozer up there. QMP's a pretty well-oiled machine. Yeah, like those guys up there. And I know Cole, who works up at QMP, and he's a good dude. And I think he does a lot of track work up there too. And yeah, that's just a cool venue to be a part of. And I mean, everyone loves their club. You gotta love your club. That's what keeps the dream alive for motocross in Australia. But when you get to go to an Oz Pro MX round, I think it's pretty cool. And I think it's cool that they've thrown a vet class in there because there's some pretty fast dudes out there.
Yeah, there definitely was.
Yeah. And I was like driving up there going, man, I reckon I'll be top 10A. Like, I reckon I'll have this covered. I worked my ass off to get a 12th.
Yeah.
Like, I was wrecked.
Well, I reckon, like, I've been covering the Oz Pro MX since the end of 22.
Yeah.
I reckon that was the highest caliber across the entire class.
See, I should have done it last year. You reckon I would have won?
Yeah. Like, so, I don't know, you definitely, I'll be brutal, you wouldn't have won. But like previous years, there's been riders of all calibers on the line. Last year, I felt like they were very high level. There wasn't those, you know, those lower level club and class vets sort of on the line as well. So there was a few less riders. And I mean, you've done it, but for me, I think it doesn't matter really whether you're clubman or you're expert vet, like go out there and do it. They prep the track on the Saturday a little bit more kindly for the vet classes.
Yeah, thanks for that, guys.
And the 65s as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, it just looks like such a cool event. I always love covering it. Like,
it's so much fun.
Yeah.
And you're right, like the fast guys were fast. Kenty, I think Kenty was second or third this year. He did a grouse job, man, Ali.
He was running top 10 in, I think it was the second MX1 moto on the Sunday for ages. And you know how you've got the big downhill step down and then that rutted out valley and you come back up and there's the S section.
Which was bad on the Sunday, So
I was standing up there and Kenty came into that S section and Cody O'Lone was behind him and it was fairly early in the race. But like Kenty was well in the top 10 and I think Cody must have thought he was a lapper or something and Cody's behind him yelling at him. I was like, Cody, he's actually in front of you, dude.
Yeah.
So, but man, that dude can ride. Like Kenty, he's unreal. You know?
He's got this switch. And like, see, Kenty, I built a lot of tracks for Kenty back in the day. We were both from Colac and I used to go to his house all the time. And like shape his track up for him. And the kid, like I shouldn't say kid, the guy's so fast.
Yep.
He's just freakishly fast off couch to track. Like
I hate people like that.
Yeah. He's like, he's working all year for what he like managing CDR, doing what he does there.
Yeah.
And he doesn't get anywhere near enough time to train, and he just gets on his bike and rips.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unreal. So as far as the track goes up there, how was that? How did that sort of compare to other places you've raced? Obviously, there's a lot of elevation. QMP is sort of a different animal. We don't really have anything like it down in Victoria.
We don't. No, I struggled hard with those hills.
Yeah.
It's been a long time. We had Barrable with Geelong. It's been a long time since you running third, fourth gear through valleys.
Yeah.
Like for me, that's not easy. I'm not used to that. I'm used to Park 4MX. I'm used to Ride Park. I'm used to Colac. I'm used to, those sorts of tracks. They're flat tracks.
I mean, we've got, I think Ballarat and Terralgan probably match it to a large degree in the elevation and the level of the slope.
Yeah.
But they're not wide open like QMP. Like QMP is just long and...
But none of them are fast through valleys.
That's what I mean.
Like Ballarat, you never fast through a valley. You fast down a hill and then you're into that, off that table. I think it's turn 9 or turn 10. And then that's the only bit that you peak into that valley. But then you're braking anyway.
Yeah.
Whereas QMP, there's not a valley you stop in, it feels like.
Yeah.
It feels like every single valley you're powering through. The amount of ruts that come out of that valley, and Sunday was gnarly. I don't know, Kent did a mad job to ride that, but those valleys out of QMP up those hills, they were huge. Even that, I think it was a double or a triple out of one of the valley after turn 5.
Yep.
That was a really cool jump, especially onto that inside over that roller. That was cool.
That big iconic step up there.
Yeah.
See, that's only
cool.
there for Pro MX. So they...
is it?
That is basically a turn. The face of that is a turn, and you just go across and cut back and go straight down into that valley.
Yeah, right.
Off the down ramp of the triple on the other side.
A Victorian wouldn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah. So they only
cool.
open that top section of the track. For the Pro MX.
That's cool. So that's what I mean. Those things, it was cool through the valleys, but I struggled hard with it just on fitness.
Yep.
Yeah. So, but at the end of the day, I enjoyed myself.
You're looking a lot fitter now, so
We'll try and do what we can.
we're going to have a repeat this year.
We're going back up to QMP.
Yep.
I think I enjoyed the time off with the kids and Soph as well. I think I enjoyed that too. It's a chance to get away. August is a good time. Yeah. No, I think we'll head back to QMP. I reckon there's a fair few other crew that'll make the trip too.
Well, there's going to be a few gate drops between now and then. So what's your plan for the year? What are you racing, and what are your goals?
The Vic series is really good this year. I mean, I haven't seen Broadford back in it for a while, so I was pretty pumped to see that on the schedule. Last time I rode Broadford was way back in the day when, MA were having a lot of trouble, and the track prep on Broadford was rotten. We copped a heap of rain, and there was a fair bit of stuff. I remember Todd Jarrett ran a petition that year for something, but haven't been back to Broadford, so looking forward to that. But I think, you've got Edenhope, we've got Rosebud. I haven't actually raced Rosebud before. I don't know, that sounds wild.
Do you like sand tracks?
Yeah, I do, but Colac's a sand track, so I was never like, let's go to Rosebud. And I don't know. I like sand. We go to the dunes in South Oz a lot. I spend a lot of time over there, so I enjoy the sand. I think Rosebud will be fun. Hopefully we get a heap of rain before it, so it's somewhat stiff on the surface and it's not dry. And
it reminds me, I did a few of the rounds, as in with the camera, not on the bike.
Yeah.
Of the Sandmasters at the end of 24.
Yeah.
It's like beach sand. Like if you think about driving down a duney, soft beach sand, like across the soft part of the sand.
Yeah.
That's what the whole track's like.
Yeah. So that's cool. That's a lot like the sand dunes. I like that. So I'm looking forward to seeing Rose. I'm looking forward to getting to Rosebud. We've got Ballarat, which is, come to think about it, Ballarat's my favourite track. I just really like that rocky clay there, especially if it's cops a heap of rain.
I love Ballarat.
Yeah, when Ballarat's wet, Ballarat's awesome.
Yeah.
I think, especially it can tack up really well. So I think you got a really good Vic calendar. So we'll aim to hit some of those, and I wouldn't actually mind coming over and doing a Sandmasters. Yep. Trying to do a Sandmasters just before the Vics fucking get over here for the weekend. Bring the fam over and cruise over to a Sandmasters and run around there and see how it goes.
It'll definitely be worth it, I think, to ride that track. I don't think we've got anything else quite like that. I'd even say just about in Australia. Apart from maybe over west. Yeah. They may have some sand tracks that sort of match that, but...
which are a bit too far for us to get to, aren't they?
Yeah. There's nothing like it on the East Coast. Even Coolum, which was renowned as being a sand track, had a hard base.
Yeah.
Whereas Rosebud has no base.
Well, you look at Frankston. Everyone called Frankston a sand track, which is opening again soon, but everyone called Frankston a sand track, but it doesn't seem to be anything like that.
I can ride Frankston, so Frankston isn't sand.
Yeah.
So I love the dirt there, man. That's something I'm super excited about. So
I'm really looking forward to Frankston opening again.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since I've ridden there too. Yeah. That was a really cool track. Really unfortunate as to why it closed down and the stale that it had, just because of what happened there. But Frankston's cool. I'm looking forward to that. That's Boydie and Uribe, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, that's cool for those guys doing that. They'd be so stoked. I'm sure. Yeah.
I mean, it's such an iconic location. It's going to be busy. I hope it's open and open regularly. Like it used to be Saturday, Sundays and Wednesday afternoons.
Yeah.
And I hope it's like that consistently.
Yeah.
Again, it would be fantastic. The thing I loved about that place was it's close, it's reliable in terms of it's open, and it can handle all weather. Like the dirt there, the drainage there is just amazing.
Yeah.
Like it can piss down, and the dirt there is just primo.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
And Boydie runs Park 4 like a clock,
Yeah.
so I'm sure it'll be good.
looking forward to, getting a bit more news on that. I've chatted with Boydie and even Yariv just briefly online, so hoping to get some more news about that.
Yeah.
And find out what's going on.
Get the goss.
Yep.
Get the goss, Pete.
Yep, for sure. So in terms of your goals this year in racing, do you have any goals? Like when you do the Vics, are you sort of hoping to get a top 10, a top 5, end up on the podium? No. You just go and have fun?
We'll just go race the expert class and hopefully be somewhere in the fun part of the group.
Having some good battles.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, there's good riders across the entire circuit. You'll get different guys at every round. Everyone might not do every 4 rounds. I'm hoping to, but hopefully I can just be in a good battle with another fella trying to have a good day. I mean, I want to do well. Don't get me wrong. I'll be I want to be competitive. I ain't going out there to cruise. Complacency can injure.
Can bite.
Yeah, complacency can bite. So I won't be planning on just cruising. I'll be trying to
having a crack.
keep that thing moving. But I just want to be in a good battle with good dudes and enjoy racing, enjoy what the day's about really.
With your background as a rider and with your track building, what for you makes a good track?
Without being too confrontational, good prep. Someone who understands what a up ramp needs to look like, depending on how close it
45
is.
minutes with a hose?
Yeah, well, you could try. I did that at Adelaide. And Phil Nicoletti was standing there looking at me and he's like, mate, the hose is leaking. And I'm like, yeah, I know, Phil, just maybe don't go on the outside there, bud. And he just looked at me like, dude, what is this guy on? I was standing there talking to the CDR boys and I was holding the hose and it was leaking anyway. I don't know, maybe Phil don't like me. But it's honestly, it's good prep, understanding what a good up ramp is. And everyone, I mean, when you're racing at clubs work their butt off, man, to try and prep their track so good. And I'm not saying they don't have the skill or they miss the mark. They're just doing the best they possibly can. So, I don't know, what makes a good track is just something, if I can get to a track and the surface is level across the whole thing, I'm generally pretty stoked. As a track builder, I could be as opinionated as I clearly wanted to be, but unless I'm taking a machine there and fixing it myself, it's best I just keep my opinion to myself because it's not doing any good. So I'll just keep it to myself. But if I get a track surface that's level and like berms that are somewhat formidable and rideable at the start of the day, stoked. Whatever they've brushed over, whatever holes they're under there, they're forming for everyone. But I think the biggest thing is when you get to a track and up ramps are still cupped out. Up ramp faces aren't straight. There's really big mounds on the side of the track that just act as berms and everyone hits them and all of a sudden with trophy trucks heading around corners just running the outside. I think that sort of stuff I'm not a super fan of, but that's all just housekeeping. And I mean, as I said, I don't want to be confrontational, but it's only sort of $5,000 between a good track and a bad track on race day for a club. $5,000 is a lot of money for a club, but the budget's generally got to be there, and it's going to be there. Warner will do a fantastic job of prepping their track, and those guys ran like 13 club days last year. That's very impressive.
Yeah.
Shipwreck Coast out there. I think they're 2 different clubs. But they run a good track, and they prep a good track. So for me, as long as you can read the track and as long as it's level, I don't know if that's the right word or if, the listeners will be on board with what I'm trying to say. But generally, as long as it's,
uniform.
Yeah, Perfect. Use that
Yeah.
word. Let's use that. Can we use that word?
We can use that
Yeah,
word.
sweet. I'll use that. I'll grab that one off you in a minute. Yeah,
Perfect.
we'll throw that one in there. Yeah, no. So if it's that's what you sort of need to see. We all ride the same track, and that's the age-old cliche thing. Oh, you don't like the track, but we're all got to race it. And
I think that's a cop out for
in some instances,
for making a shit track though.
yeah,
Like,
it is. In some instances, it is, and that's the same as the prep. It's the same as the watering. But if you can get it close, close enough to that, I think we're all pretty happy.
Yeah.
To be honest, the biggest thing's injuries too. Like, you get to a track and some things have got kickers, and all of a sudden you're sitting around all day waiting for 4 ambulances. I'm sorry to hear someone's crash. I'm not here to, attack that, but you don't want to be sitting around waiting for ambulances because the kind of track wasn't prepped the way it should be, and that's what kind of can cause the incidents. And
Yeah.
I think it's a hard class to sort of call on, but yeah, some things keep them uniform.
No, I like that answer. I like it a lot. So one thing you did say was that an ambition of yours was to have a dedicated training facility. Tell me a little bit about that.
I just think it'd be cool. Growing up, we always had a track, and everyone came and rode it. When we moved to the property, Soph and I, we bought a farm in Moriac. I built a track, and we had a minute 35 lap time there, and it was a big track. It was on 15 acres, and honestly, it was just the amount of people that came and rode was just, I think it's just really cool to see. I really enjoy that. I really enjoy, I always feel like if you're in a position where you can give the opportunity to someone to, be better at something, then you should probably be a part of it. And I think majority of this sport, and I mean, that's a pretty broad statement, but in the motorcycling world, the amount of people that perform a selfless act at the benefit of somebody else, the person who performs that gets benefit because they get to be a part of it. But I think just witnessing guys come and ride your track, be better racers, go and win races, that for me was always really cool. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's days where, you'd text the boys and you'd say track's open at 8. And you got like 12 cars rolling in at 7:45 because no one can wait, and they've been parked on the corner for 25 minutes while you're eating brekkie, and you're like, dude, why didn't you just come up? I don't care if you're here at 6. I'm just sort of saying let's, as a generic, start at 8. But like everyone's like pumped, and when you get like, we had a day there at Moriac where we had 2 quads. And I had these 2 jumps. The first one was out of a corner, and it was 55-foot double, and then the next one was a 70-foot double. And like we're riding, and we're riding. Everyone, there's a lot of guys on 2-wheelers, and then there's these Adam Larson and Jake Van Vliet who had their quads there. And I don't think Mitch Van Vliet was there this day, but dude, they just came out and they're like, dude, we're gonna hit these doubles. And I'm like, well, yeah, everything's wide enough. Like, everything's like, are you sure though? Like, dude, that second one in the road, like that second one in the link, 70 foot, man. They're like, no, I reckon we're going to send it. And so that to me, I don't know, it's cool. It's not like, oh yeah, it's just cool. You just get a group of guys, like you get a group of people together that the common goal is to just ride better, be better, do something cool. I don't know, whatever it might be. And that to me has always been, I guess, really close to my heart. And I mean, at this point, I feel like I am in a position where I could provide opportunity for something like that. And I'd like to, I mean, I talk to a lot of people about it who have facilities, and I talk to a lot of those types of people, but I can sort of see it transpiring into that.
Yep.
And we've looked at properties, and we've looked at stuff like that. I just think it's cool. I just think, I mean, what else do we do with our lives?
I think that would be absolutely unreal.
Yeah. And I mean, if you had 2 or 3 facilities on the east coast seaboard of Australia, and they were within an hour of an international airport, and like it's for me, there's, we sit here on the podcast and we chat. There's already 100 people doing it, and you know what? So there should be, because there's 1,000 people doing something else in this industry.
Yep.
And like the motorcycling industry in Australia is enormous, but just for me and for what I guess I've been able to notice, and as I said, people will say it might be worse than what it was 10 years ago. People will say it might be better. But in my opinion, it's better right now than it was 3 years ago.
100%.
We've got faster riders. We've got more riders. And I just feel like the whole industry is very healthy at the minute. There's people that take a good, make a good living from the motorcycling industry. There's also an enormous amount of people give back. And if you turned around and said to someone, hey, if you're going to buy a tyre, where are you going to buy it from? Well, for me, I'm buying a tyre from Steve-O's, right, if I'm racing the Vic titles. Why? They sponsor the Vic titles.
They support it, yep.
Do you know what I mean? If I'm going to the Nationals and, like, if I'm going to go to the Vet National and I need a tyre, a set of goggles, some tear-offs, I'm buying them from MX Store. So that to me, it's just sort of one of those things. It's this massive circle of just great people. And I think, and as I said, the training facility it was pretty scary to write that down there. And I speak to Soph, my wife, about it a lot. We talk about it heaps, but yeah, it was pretty scary to write it. But I think that's the goal. And there's people with these facilities already. Like, there's people doing it all across Australia. Like, these guys aren't training indoors.
Yeah, I mean, I think there is, but certainly nothing like what we see in the US, where, like, they are fully dedicated training facilities that are hired out to individual riders. They're hired out to teams.
Yeah.
Like, you look at places where, like, the teams have ended up buying one or running one regularly. I'm sure that's probably what Urive has planned for Frankston to some degree for the Honda team. But I think there's an opportunity there and a massive window to make something very successful of that in Australia, for sure. And it doesn't really matter, like you said, as long as it's within a relatively accessible area, people will come from all over to train there, especially if you've got a good level motocross training facility and a supercross training facility as well. Yeah. People will come. Like, if you build it, they will come.
Yeah, 100%. One of my really good friends, and the Lewises, they do a bit of that sort of stuff. They've done it for a while too, and they're very generous with what they do to some factory teams in Australia. They're very generous, and I think it's cool, and I think they get a lot of fulfillment out of it. And I think so they should too, because they're putting something on the line to better the industry. They're putting what they've got, down on the table and saying, hey guys, we're passionate about this too. You want to come train here, you can come train here.
Yep.
And I think that's pretty cool.
All right, mate. Well, we've been going for nearly 2 hours.
Oh, we had.
Yep. It's been absolutely unreal. Before we wrap this up, is there anyone that you'd like to give a shout out to or thank?
No, I mean, yourself, Pete, to be honest, and every single other person, that's doing a bit for, the common goal of making moto great again. Really, it's a little bit cliche, but I think at the end of the day, yourself too. A lot of people that deserve thanks don't want a thanks. They're doing it anyway. You know what I mean? So, I think that's a cool part of it. But just thanks to everyone.
Awesome, man. For the record, I absolutely love what I get to do.
Yep.
And I think my 12-year-old self would be super stoked, and like, when you've seen in the studio here, I've rearranged everything, and my missus walked in and she looked at it. I'm like, what do you think? She goes, are you 12 years old? I'm like, yeah, like I am. Yeah, I'm proud of it. Like, deep down, man, I'm pumped. I've surrounded myself with the things that I love.
Yeah.
Posters of riders on the wall, got jerseys, all the memorabilia and stuff around.
Yeah, it's cool. I'm really looking forward to seeing where it goes. And to be honest, I'm really looking forward to Supercross. What AME and Bailey and all those people within that team have done for Supercross in Australia right now is enormous. I can see, based on the platform that they have brought for the Australian riders, I can see people like Elijah Weiss get a factory ride with whatever team it might be, or a sub-factory ride with whatever team it might be, just because he's bringing positivity to the sport.
Yeah.
You look at Cody alone, what they did for privateers to put them on press day, and Cody alone was a privateer this year. He rode for SFC, don't get me wrong. That's
not a factory team, though.
That's not a factory team.
No.
That's just good people doing good things for good riders with talent.
Yeah.
And like when they put them in press day this year, I was blown away. I was expecting to see, pull out of the machine, park up the machine and see 10 bikes for press day. I reckon there was 17 bikes on press day at Cronulla.
Yeah, Dylan Wills, he's another privateer.
But Dylan Wills has got more reach than a giraffe. The guy's a jet when it comes to social media, is he not?
Yeah.
Like, he's the most positive person on the field, and he's fast too. If anyone's seen Dylan Wills knock 8 people out in a head-to-head at Avalon in 2015, when he took down all those top guys as a upcoming privateer, dude, the guy smoked that night. So
Hayden Melross.
Yeah, Hayden Melross running third in the championship. Honestly, the amount of exposure that the sport has, that's what I say. There's people out there that are doing good for the sport. And don't get me wrong, a lot of the times maybe they're just doing good for themselves too, and some of it might be selfish. But I'm telling you now, if they're bringing good to the sport, they're doing the right thing. People say the same thing about Hayden Deegan, and they, but at the end of the day, he's brought exposure to the SMX that no one's ever brought before, and these guys are doing the same. But that's what I'm excited to see. And it's all thanks to, I think, a huge thanks goes to the AME team that bring the house and Josh that brings the tracks. That's everything else there's so many other important people, wheels of the cog that actually do what they do, like Williams and all those guys. But whether it be Jake or Kevy, they both do an enormous part for it too. But you've, excited to see where this is going, Pete.
For sure.
It's a cool thing.
And a few weeks away, we start the first round of Pro MX at Wonthaggi here. And as we sort of said earlier, that series is on the up as well. So, here's to a good year.
It is. See you at Wonthaggi.
Thanks heaps for coming on, and we'll definitely have to do it again. All right, that brings us to the end of this episode. We've got some more awesome guests lined up this year, so make sure you subscribe to Mental for Moto and turn on your notifications so you don't miss out on future shows. Massive thanks, Cam, to coming into the Moto Asylum for a chat today, and to our partners for this episode, Fastline Suspension, Southeast Pools, Iro Helmets, Wolf Building Compliance, Ultimate Toy Haulers, and the February sponsor of the Mental for Moto, Motocross and Supercross wall calendars, O'Donnell Motorcycles. And most of all, thanks to you guys for listening. On behalf of Mental for Moto, I've been your host, Pete Wolf. Until next time, see ya.